Where's the camera? I'm like looking over here. Why am I looking over there? Hmm. Hmm. You know, a lot of people have a fear of failure, you know, and deal with imposter syndrome and all of the things. And my brain was like, what if you had a fear of all of it, of, of failure and success, and you had imposter syndrome? And so no matter what you do, you're just constantly freaking out. The world is a panic space. So I've been working with my therapist a lot lately on my fear of failure slash fear of success. And you might be wondering, like, what does that look like? Well, what it looks like is I'll do something and it will, well, one, I'll do something and I'll put very little effort into it, because if I don't put effort into it and it doesn't work out, then I don't have anything to be bummed about, because the reality is that I didn't really try. And what it also looks like is that somehow, uh, sometimes these very lazy attempts do work out. And so I will find a way to bow out, self sabotage, completely destroy everything that I worked for, abandon it. Um, the second that it starts doing really well. And it's funny because, well, is it funny? Meh, it's not funny. It's like a complete mindfuck and is destroying my career, sort of. It's not destroying it, but it certainly keeps it in the place that I don't want it to be anymore. Hence, working with my therapist on it. Well, maybe it is funny. It's funny because it's funny, not funny, because I am super ambitious in a way, and I want all of these things. And so I will be completely freaked out about not getting these things. And I'll spend a ton of time obsessing about not getting the things. And I'll make lists and I'll make lists and I'll check off the lists. And then as soon as they do well, I start feeling a lot of pressure around them. And my brain just, I overthink absolutely everything. And so I have this tendency to overanalyze and to overthink. And I start worrying that, like, okay, if this keeps going well and this works out, like, what does that look like for me? Like, what kind of, you know, workload does that look like? Like, will I be able to handle that? That just, and I get overwhelmed by the success of something before it's even happened. Like, it's like my ego has this amazing imagination where I'll like sit down to write a book and I'll write the first sentence and I'm already like, what will it feel like to read this out loud to millions of people when I do my book tour and I'm a New York Times best-selling author? And then I immediately shut down. Meow. End of very. I don't know where this comes from. But my therapist does. So I've been working with my therapist on this because, like, honestly, I'm tired of it. Like, I'm tired of my brain and I'm tired of my anxiety hijacking my life, and I'm tired of overthinking every single thing to the point of exhaustion. And so, in these conversations with her, she, you know, pointed out that, you know, maybe this comes from maybe this comes from this sense of feeling like I will get to a place where things feel big and hard, and I will have to essentially do them in a bubble. And because, you know, my entire life has been very solitary, you know, I was raised somewhat like an only child, even though I had siblings. Not all of them lived with my mother and I, and, you know, or would only live with us sometimes. And, you know, I was a very sort of introverted, active child. I spent a lot of time alone, most of my time alone. And I, you know, it was kind of weird. I had a hard time until I was older. I had a hard time kind of interacting with other kids because I was just interested in very different things than my peers. They wanted to, you know, play Barbie and play house and do all the things. And honestly, as a kid, even though I had this insane imagination, I was never like super interested into playing with toys and stuff. It was very weird. Like I would try to go full scale as a child. So, you know, I didn't want to play business. I wanted to start one. And I would, you know, like put together, you know, face care kits at 9 years old with like random ingredients for my kitchen that I had read were good for your face, like oatmeal and shit. And I would like put them in these like very ghetto boxes, just like stuff everything together, random food items, just sprinkle in some oatmeal. You know, the execution was very 9-year-old. I think there was egg whites. Like I put egg whites in like little, what are those little plastic dishes? Not dishes, little plastic cups that have the lid. There's a word for them that I just can't think of right now. And all of these things, I would put them together and I would go door to door in my neighborhood trying to get murdered, it would seem, and try to sell them for like $10 to, you know, my poor neighbors. This one, like, really sweet old lady always bought my stuff. It was very kind of her. I'm sure that she immediately threw it in the trash, but how kind of her to afford me my fancy candy from the nearby candy shop. But, you know, so everything with me was full scale as a kid. So, and I had a hard time relating to other kids. As I got older, I just realized it worked really well for me to have friends who were older. So I, you know, as I got older, I had friends that were older, and that fixed that, right? So there's a fucking thing going on with my earbuds where they keep like cutting out and coming back. So I'm gonna trade them. And so yeah, I had a really hard time relating to other kids as a kid. And, you know, later learned just make older friends, and that worked for me. But, you know, that with my, you know, my parents were not together. And that was like a whole thing growing up, you know, very busy parents who were kind of like doing their thing, couldn't really relate to peers. And, you know, I just kind of didn't rely on anybody very much. Like I was naturally an independent person from a young age. And, you know, being kind of introverted, actually, new fun word that I learned also from my therapist. Ambivert, that's a thing where basically you're not an extrovert or an introvert. Like, you need people so that you don't feel horrifically alone and depressed, or maybe you feel depressed too, but you don't feel horribly alone. And you seek out, friendships. And then being with people drains the life force from you, even when you're having the best time ever. And then you have to recharge your battery by being completely alone forever and a day. Very much me. I get very sad and lonely very quickly. I also get very drained very quickly. I've always been this way. I remember having sleepovers at friends' house as a kid, and I would just like go in their room and start reading a book, and like at a sleepover, and they would come in and be like, "Why aren't you watching the movie with us?" And I'd be like, "I just need a minute." This was me as a teenager, like not the funnest friend, but I needed it. Like, I needed to recharge so that I could be like a non-irritable, non-psycho. So yeah, back to what I was saying. Lost in thought. I was just an independent child because this is how I functioned in the world. I very much so have the mentality that I have to go at everything alone. And, my therapist we were talking, and she was like, maybe the reason that you start self-sabotaging and abandoning things when they do well has a lot to do with the fact that you tend to take on things that are big, and then you believe that you're gonna have to continue tackling those big things as they grow entirely by yourself. And that's not the case, because you are not a, lonely child anymore. You have really great friends who have your back and who you can count on for anything, anytime, and they would absolutely be there for you if you needed them. You also, are an adult who has resources and is really good at solving problems. Thank you. She's so kind to me, much kinder than I am to myself. And and so it wouldn't be this thing that you're imagining, or that your subconscious, I guess, is imagining, where you do the thing and then you're alone and you have to manage it alone. So in learning this about myself, I'm being utterly tired of my brain because it's exhausting. So I have decided that this year I'm going to do the big things, and I am not going to sabotage once it starts going well, if it starts going well. Another thing that I'm working on is doing things in baby steps, and nothing is winning or failing. It's just growth, right? That helps with my fear of failure. Because I'm just doing the tiny baby steps, and every single tiny baby step is learning a new skill in the process. Hence these videos. That's kind of what this is. Like, these videos are to help me get kind of comfortable doing video and learn the process in my very uniquely messy way of doing things in the world. I learn best trying, which is probably why the fear of failure is also so big. Is like, I have a lot of friends who are amazing planners, like spreadsheets on spreadsheets on spreadsheets, and they calculate every single tiny step. You know who you are, bitches. Before they make a move, and they're all very successful in the way that they do things. It works very well for them, and they're perfectionists, and they plan, and it works. I don't function that way because I get bored. Like, I love to-do lists, but I need the to-do list to tell me the things to do now. Like, I have a harder time planning ahead because for me it's boring and I have all of these ideas and I want to try things. And it's kind of important for me to try them and then, like, just, oh God, it's so cringe, and like redo it. Or try it and be like, I really like that. That felt good. That was fun. I'm going to keep doing it that way. But doing it that way involves putting really messy shit into the world that's not perfect and that is probably not going to work really well. Like, it's probably not. This video, I don't know why anyone would watch it. It's so messy and I don't know what I'm doing. Like, I'm totally flailing here, just trying to figure it out. But this is how I learn. So, plus there's editing. I learn the best this way. And you know, again, that means that I probably fail more, right? Which is not fun for somebody who's afraid to fail / afraid to succeed, afraid to be a person, basically, in the world. Like, it's as though the universe was like, let's take like this person and sprinkle everything that doesn't make sense into like this fucking egg, just all of the things, and then watch it struggle. Like, just set it free and watch it struggle forever. It's like, you know, highly ambitious, afraid of failing, cannot plan, must fail to succeed, also afraid of succeeding, will sabotage once succeeds. Why? I don't know. But the important thing is therapy. I am privileged and fortunate enough to be able, in this point of my life, afford weekly therapy visits for years now. Honestly, thank the universe, because before it, I know this might surprise you, but an even bigger chaotic mess than I am now. And I don't know, is it going well? Is it not going well? Actually, I think it is, because I made a to-do list. I've been checking off the things, and as soon as my brain starts doing the self-sabotage thing, I have been really good at taking some breaths, name it to tame it. Like, you know, that whole saying, name it to tame it, where you say, hello, anxiety, you're trying to sabotage me. You fucking twat. No, we're not doing that anymore. Thank you so much. I don't need your help. I've got this. And continuing on my chaotic journey of doing the things that I want to do. Like, I wrote a book and now I am trying to get book published. And that's always just insane how that works. And videos, trying a new thing, trying the video thing. How's it going? I don't know. I think terrible. But I'm having fun, and that, I think, is what matters. So yeah, I'm using the self-talk. I'm doing the things even when they are messy and hard and not working how I want them to work. And trusting the process. And yeah, I don't know. I wonder how common it is. Like, am I the only one? Why am I talking like that? Am I now an actress from the 1920s in Chicago? Like, why the fuck am I talking like that? I don't know what I'm doing. Who is this character? Stop, no. Am I the only one who does that? Like, the fear of failure, also fear of success, horrible hellscape that is my brain. Comment in the comment section below if this is a thing that you also do. If so, please, like, let's be best friends so that we can struggle together. And also, please subscribe, like, share. I mean, you guys know the YouTube. Everybody has the same sign off. But yeah, really appreciate it. And see you next time, I hope. And the shirt, polka dots, polka dots, polka dots. And the shirt, polka dots, polka dots, polka dots. La la na 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 na, ba na 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 na. Jam out to the polka dots, the polka dots.